What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Awakening World. I am Love Coach Scott Gatomas, and I'm so honored to be your host on this journey and these wonderful shows that we do 3 times a week. And tonight's show is something that I'm so excited about because it's a beautiful, beautiful theme. It was inspired by Johanna Beekman, one of our favorite musical artists who's with us tonight. You will be seeing Johanna and her friends playing wonderful music. We also always have our beautiful, beloved brother Omoshar with us. And we've got several new guests that you have not met before, including Scarlett Rivera. And right behind me, my friend Zasha, you'll meet her a little bit later, my friend Baba Dez. And most of all, our wonderful co-host. I am so grateful when I get to co-host with Eden Amadora. And Eden and I wanted to do another show together. And we were talking about, okay, well, what do we want to do? And I talked about this song because something about Eden, I've watched her teach, I've watched her lead workshops, and she does everything with love. And I said, there's this great song that Johanna wrote. And we decided, let's do an entire show around that theme of doing everything with love. So before we start, I am going to play that song in a moment. But I also want to welcome those of you who are watching on Facebook. We are out over 130 Facebook pages, also on YouTube. And so if you're watching us in one of those ways, come join us. Come join the Global Peace Tribe. And it's really easy. You just go to globalpeacetribe.com and our website will tell you all about who we are and all the things that we do. And then click register for the new season. And when you do that, like I'm attempting to do right the carousel is, oh my gosh, this has never happened before. There we go. It's going to take you to our registration page. We do 3 or 4 shows every week, all live with amazing guests, amazing co-hosts. And for example, on Wednesday night, we did a wonderful show celebrating our sensuality and sexuality. We had Annie Sprinkle, who's an icon. I started to mix up the word sprinkle with icon. And it was amazing to have Annie talking. And then the next generation of leaders in the field, Rika Briones and my co-host Trish Wright. Here's the show we're doing tonight, all about doing everything with love. And then tomorrow on our Sacred Sunday show, it's going to be all about finding your community with the woman who literally wrote the book on it, Cynthia Tina, who's traveled the world twice, exploring different alternative communities. So it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful. Before I play the video, Eden, what does doing everything with love mean to you?
For me, doing everything with love is synonymous first with being in a really high vibrational state, a very present state where your heart is open, where you're feeling joy, where you're feeling gratitude. And then no matter what you do, be it washing your dishes, feeding your pet, planting a garden, or making huge waves out in the world, teaching and writing books, whatever you're doing, you are doing it from that frequency of really being it, embodying it, living it. So for me, it's full spectrum. No matter what you're doing, let it be coming from the heart.
Beautiful. Thank you. So this video you're about to see, um, I love the Beatles. I think most of us do. But as I've matured, as I've spent more time in life, I've realized that all you need is love isn't really true. We need more than love, but doing everything with love. Now, that's the key. And like Eden just said, whatever it is, whether you're um, writing a book and doing something big, or even just doing the dishes, when we do things with love, it creates a different vibration. You know, we've all experienced the waiter that just wants to, get through it. And here's your food. What do you want? And the waiter is like, really cares about you and brings the food with love, makes the food with love. So I asked wonderful Johanna to do a video taking the All You Need Is Love song, but switching it into doing everything with love. And then we added photographs of some of our favorite presenters and co-hosts. So here it is, the wonderful Johanna Beekman, and the song that inspired tonight's entire show.
Love, 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 love. Love is everything. Love is everything. Love, 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 love. Love, love, love. Love, 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 love. Love, love, love. Oh, oh, oh. Nothing you can do that can't be done. Nothing you can sing that can't be sung. Nothing you can say, but you can learn how to play the game. It's easy. Do everything with love. Do everything with love. Do everything with love. Love. Love is everything. Nothing you can make that can't be made. Nothing you can save that can't be saved. Nothing you can do, but you can learn how to be you in time. It's easy. Yeah. Do everything with love. Do everything with love. Do everything with love. Love. Love is everything. Love is everything. Love is everything. Yeah. Love is everything. Love is everything.
You know what's interesting, Eden, is we created that video quite a while ago, I think maybe 6 or 9 months ago. And isn't it ironic that the very first photograph that we have is you?
It was a premonition.
It was. We were foreshadowing tonight.
It's so amazing looking in the faces of these beings that are doing so much from the heart. And when I look at Reverend Michael Beckwith, Marianne Williamson, and their smiles, I feel this transmission from them, this joy, this love, and many of the other presenters. It's really contagious.
It is. You know, it's also just poignant. There are two faces that you saw in that video who were alive when we made the video and are no longer with us. Celestine Starr has passed away, and Gary Zukhov's beautiful wife, Linda, has passed. And so there's also that part. It's like life is so precious and so tender. You never know how much time we have.
Yeah. So do it with love, right? No
Exactly.
time to waste.
Well, with that, I'm going to turn it over to you to share whatever you want to share. And I think you're going to lead us on a little practice.
Yes, I want to share a beautiful heart opening journey. It's one of my favorite things to do. I love inner guided meditations. But before I dive us into that for a direct experience of raising your love level and opening your heart, I just want to share I'm so lit up because I'm spending this whole weekend in Nevada City with a beautiful teacher, author, William Henry. I don't know if some of you are familiar with his work on the Magdalene mysteries and how she was really a part of this opening of the heart, what we call Christ consciousness, high levels of bliss, unconditional love, and all about ascending into the next kind of frequency of humanity. Like what are we when we're living in love constantly, when there's no fear? So I've just been in such a high frequency state all weekend, and I'm so happy to bring it here for the Awakening World community and share some of this good energy with you. So let's have an experience. I'm going to invite our beautiful musician, Brother Omashar, to accompany me in this journey. And one of the things the Magdalene teaches is that our body is the living temple, and it's the holiest of holies. So for a moment, just put a hand on your precious heart, the heart chakra, the center of your chest, and another on your lower belly, under your navel. And we align our spine, if you can, if it's comfortable for you, to just feel the magnificence of this body, your temple, in alignment. Yogananda said the spine is the highway to the divine. So feel as you close your eyes with me. Deep, deep breath in. And breathing deeper than you usually breathe, down to that hand on the lower belly, and lean a little bit more back. We're often so forward leaning in our culture into the future. Let's come into this holy now, this present moment, by leaning a few millimeters back and bringing the crown of the head up and back and the heart forward. Deep breath into the hand right on the heart, and give it a little gentle spiral, just blessing and touching your own sacred heart. And as you breathe deeper than you usually breathe, and you hold yourself as this precious embodiment of love, now bring your awareness into the space behind your brow. Deep breath there. The third eye, the ajna, this light sensitive part of our brain. Feeling the tones of the music, lifting your consciousness into this throne, this place inside that we receive the divine light, feeling this golden light showering into your pineal. And as you breathe and receive the beauty of the light, just feeling yourself bathed in joy, in the higher frequencies, bliss, gratitude, continuing to deeply breathe and receive, and feeling this shining upon you as if your own soul or your higher self is shining down upon this physical body. The part of you that is already completely ascended in this divine love is connecting consciously with the part that sometimes struggles to feel bliss in the body, to feel home. And in this moment, just let yourself be embraced by this love of your own soul light, the solar light. Deep, deep breath. And as this light pours through the light sensitive parts of your brain, the pineal, the pituitary, the hippocampus, you might feel a particular color of the rainbow that's working with you, activating the rainbow light body, showering it down through your skull to the base of the skull, go ahead and bow your chin and open that lesser known chakra, the base of the skull, where we can hear whispers from the divine coming in, connected to the audio channel. And then open in the chin and let the light shine into your throat. May we speak as love would speak, as we listen from love. May we be the voice of love. And smiling that inner smile and swallowing this liquid light down through the throat, into the body, into the high heart, into that space behind your hand of light. And just for a moment, just feel that this inner light is healing the body, that the liquid light moving down the central channel is healing any pain in your heart right now, any place that you found difficult to forgive, self or other. Just diving in behind that hand of light to the innermost chambers of your heart, as if you could breathe the back heart open and unfurl your earth angel wings. Deep breath at the back heart. Feeling all the tension, all the shields melting away. There is no power greater than this love, nothing to protect or defend. Allow it to just nourish your body as it flows down from the heart, down into the belly, down through your organs, every cell, every molecule, nourished, radiant, and down to the hand that's holding the lower belly, the hara, the power center, the sacred chakra, your creative life force energy, and just breathing and being with the light there for a moment, and unfurling the tail energetically. If there's any part holding on in fear, this is a time to just rest in this beauty. Nowhere to go, nothing to fear. Opening any part of the root energetically that has been holding on, and allow yourself to receive the light all the way down, all the way into the red frequency of your rainbow light body, pouring down through the root and rooting this grace on earth through our walk in beauty together. Feel your legs lighting up, your soles of your feet lighting up, and then letting those hands of light slowly move off the body and just come as if you're holding beautiful lotuses or orbs of light around heart height, and feeling that horizontal embrace, that axis from the back heart, your wings of light. And feel how, as you receive the light first for yourself, now you can walk in this embrace of your beloveds, your family, your community, and you can offer it as that overflowing chalice, that abundance of grace, patience, presence. The joy that emanates from you is here for others now. So deep breath there, and just let yourself expand for a moment. Feeling all the colors, all the energy flowing through you. And then we slowly bring those hands of light together at the third eye and press them into the mudra of Namaste. Bowing in gratitude. For a grateful open heart is a doorway that brings heaven to earth. And slowly bringing that mudra back to your heart and opening your eyes gently, so slowly with me. I bow to you. Namaste.
brighter than the sun. Here where life is one. All the past falls like rain into the soil of future dreams. Love, the footprint in the sand. Eyes shining like the stars, and the way is suddenly so clear, and we know what has to be done, and still we wonder why flowers keep on blooming. The stardust in our eyes lifts us all to a higher plane, a deeper truth, our rightful place now. Still we wonder why. And life, a promise to fulfill. Now a vision is revealed, and the blessing of who we really are can be felt throughout our world. And still we wonder why flowers keep on blooming. The stardust in our eyes lifts us all to a higher plane, a deeper truth, our rightful place now. Still we wonder why. And light, brighter than the sun. Here where life is one. All the past falls like rain into the soil of future dreams. And still we wonder why flowers keep on blooming. The stardust in our eyes lifts us all to a higher plane, a deeper truth, our rightful place. And still we wonder why. Still we wonder why. Still we wonder why. Be still and wonder why. This is the end of the song. We just made that up.
On my gallery view, let's all do some wonderful twinkles for beloved Omar Shar. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I am at a hotel in Barstow. We have no idea how the internet's going to handle. It was good, but it's gotten very choppy on my end. So I'm going to bring Eden on. Eden, am I still legible? Am I still People able to hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. There's a little tiny glitchiness, but you're coming through. The meaning is coming
Great.
through.
All right. Well, I'm going to have Eden, you're going to need to do probably more today because it's getting really choppy on my end. And I know
Okay,
that
well,
she's going to introduce.
I can start by introducing Scarlett, and I can ask you to unmute, Scarlett, if you click your unmute, and I'm gonna add you here. This is Scarlett Rivera, and Scarlett is an amazing being. She came out of this musical rock and roll world. She is a epic violin player that plays violin in such a unique rocking style that she was asked to join, am I right, Bob Dylan's band? Were you part of the Dylan band? That's just
Yeah,
epic.
I was
So
the first woman he ever hired, and I'm on a huge number of his albums, and
incredible. And she's also a part, I mean, Scarlett, I'm just gonna say a little bit more because it's quite impressive. So Grammy nominated American musician, Scarlett Rivera has burned a hole in the fabric of rock history as a pioneer of electric violin. From a classical background, she then bent all the accepted norms. She was really a pioneer. Now they're copying her. I've seen this before, but you were the first. Going into all genres, experimenting with rock fusion and jazz to Latin polyrhythms. She has been a revolutionary heartist, a musician of the heart. And she was, like you said, the first female member of Dylan's band and featured on 4 additional multi-platinum albums. She has played in incredible, prestigious places, the hallowed Carnegie Hall with the Duke Ellington Orchestra, as well as the Kennedy Center, the Carnival of Venice, Italy. Her current Grammy-nominated vocal debut, All of Me, has been spotlighted with stellar reviews around the world. She continues to journey in this musical way and perform with legends such as the Indigo Girls, Tracy Chapman, Eric Anderson, Keb Mo. I don't even know some of these people, but they're they're amazing musicians. Peter Maffay, David Johansen, Sylvia Tyson, 5-time Grammy winner Cindy Cashdollar. But what Scarlett is really passionate about, you would think, oh my God, with that kind of musical history, isn't that enough? No, her heart is actually so passionate about wildlife and the animal kingdom. And that's what she's come here to share with us. She really wants to speak about her relationship with that aspect of her life and the offering and how she does it with love. So Scarlett, I'm going to make you the main. Let me see, I'll take myself off and put you on. All right, tell us more about this.
well, I think we all have had experiences from childhood tapping into the primal love of animal life and our connection with nature. We've all had that, but we've become disconnected and forgotten about them. And they, we're working on our, human things that make us happy. And they have, our connection has gone by the wayside for most people. And I want to bring that love of nature and wildlife back to people's consciousness, because the animal consciousness is actually a vast, untapped universe unto itself. And pioneers like Jane Goodall, for example, have studied, she was told that, well, you have to put numbers on them. That's it. And it's like, no, I'm not assigning them numbers. They're individuals. They have names. And that was even revolutionary in just a couple of decades ago. But I also have spent years volunteering and at exotic and native animal sanctuaries, and that was a profound experience. Making friendships with animals like tigers, for example. And this was rescue of a baby tiger. I was 3 months old, and I got to see it grow up, and unfortunately, it was never able to be released to the wild. But we rescued thousands of animals from around the world and around the country, including
Wow.
lions, bears, grizzly bears, eagles, hawks, falcons, wolves, coyotes. I mean, we had a huge array of exotic animals, and um, the kind of people that came into contact with us that were drawn to working with them were everything from somebody working, as a mechanic to an actor, an A-list actor. I mean, everybody gave, dropped that kind of persona and dedicated their life and their time to helping those animals. And
So Scarlett,
yeah,
is this an organization that is still existing, or no, this is something that you
sadly,
were, yeah, this was a part of your life. And how does this love of yours still continue today in your world with the animals and wildlife?
well, probably more than ever, because I have been writing quietly in between tours and in between records and sessions. I have always gone back to the book that I want to finally come out with, hopefully next year, called Voice of the Animals, because we all need to be their voice because they don't have a voice. And the forces of destruction are upon them, around the world, from magnificent elephants, to wild horses, to wolves, to dolphins, manatees. I mean, koala bears in Australia. I mean, there are so many iconic creatures that, everyone loves at least one or two of these with a great passion, from either childhood or later in life, or even as a spirit animal. And they need us now more than ever, because we are the ones that are going to say, the forces of destruction are not going to take their world away from them.
Blessed be that, and your passion to make sure that doesn't happen in your own way. I'm looking forward to hearing more about your book, and I'm curious, do you have a name yet? Do you have a working title? Should we keep our eyes peeled, our ears peeled for it?
Yes, it's Voice of the Animals, and I also have a full-length CD already out, which is probably on Amazon and Spotify as well as my album All of Me. It's on all platforms as well. But I intend to do a new version of it and add animals songs that weren't on there, like the dolphin song, for example.
Beautiful. I love how you are using your childhood love for the animals and your passion and influence as a musician, and combining them, that they're weaving together in this way that it's illuminating for others to feel their love for wildlife, their love for animals, to feel our interconnectedness with them. And I'm wondering if you have a story, like a brief story about something that really cracked your heart open. I'm sure when you were rescuing animals, you had incredible connections or communion with certain animals. Is there any particular animal that's especially like the one that just changed your life, that was such a deep connection or beautiful communion that you'd share with us?
Yes, I mean, we saved some Siberian tigers and had them airlifted to the United States from Europe. And they were they're the largest tigers in the world. And one of them did not survive. It died of starvation. And the other two were almost, could not even stand by the time we rescued them. And we turned their life around, and they lived to the end of their lives.
Beautiful.
And I have a story about a little girl. When we say, what difference can we make? And she stood on the beach, when we all know the beaches of California where we are. This little girl was throwing starfish back into the sea because they had all been beached and they were going to probably die because the tide was out and the sun was going to beat on them. And this man said, what difference does it make? You're not going to save them all. And what difference does it matter? And she said, it matters to this one. And she threw that one back.
So sweet. Thank you so much. Scott, do you have anything to ask or add?
Just want to thank you so much. And people, I did take a look, and you can find Scarlett Rivera's music on Amazon. I wasn't able to find the Voices of the Animal there, but I could find your albums. And then her website is her name, Scarlett Rivera Music. So I'm going to go there as well. And Scarlett, one more time, the name of the book is going to be Voices of the Animal?
Voice of the Animals.
Voice of the Animals. Well, certainly when it's released, let us know and we will do a follow-up, all right?
Fantastic, Scott. And thank you, Eden. Blessings to you guys.
Thanks for being with us, and thank you so much for, on behalf of those thousands of animals that you supported and even saved. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, to digest all of this, we're going to go to Johanna, our source of inspiration for tonight's show. And there she is. Now, most of you know her because she's been on the show many times, but we always have new people with us, and of course, people watching on Facebook. And Johanna is the co-founder of the Bhakti Love Reunion. We did an entire show on that last year. We'll do it again. We hopefully are planning on being there in the fall. It's a wonderful event and festival. But she's a lot more than that. She's also a yogini, a chant artist. She has served as pollinator of bhakti and yoga circuits for over a decade. During the pandemic, she produced an acclaimed international music video that I love, the Mantra Sangha Health and Healing video. I've played it, I think, 3 times now on these shows. She's performed with so many people. And she's one of those people that whenever we realize, oh, I know Johanna Beekman, I love Johanna Beekman, is what usually people say. I was just talking with Larissa Stowe about you yesterday. So Johanna is beloved. She's multi-talented, and we always appreciate when you're here on the show because you've become a big part of the awakening world.
Aw. Well, Scott, it's lovely to be here, and I just love the subject because it's always something that I come from and return to, is that idea that we can transform anything that's uncomfortable into love at the end of the day, if I have, so anyway, I really appreciate you and the whole Awakening World community and the 3+ years we've spent together, yeah?
That's right. Yeah, we'll be hitting 3 years next month.
Amazing. Well, your selfless service to humanity goes not unnoticed in this world, Scott.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And what do you have for us today?
Well, I want to sing a song actually that is, I'm here in Costa Rica. Welcome, Pura Vida. This is my friend Sherry Howard. We're here leading a retreat, actually. It's an annual sacred chant and yoga retreat here that we do. And this is our first annual opportunity. And we have someone coming from the Global Peace Tribe. So that's really lovely. And then our friend Kevin, who is here, a musician who's playing with us at a concert we're having. He's from Costa Rica. Yes? Yeah. Yes. So we're going to sing a song, Beyond Love, that really is, it's a chant actually in Gurmukhi, the language of the Sikh tradition. And it talks about, it's a personal empowerment chant. And the chorus is part of the translation: beyond birth, beyond color, beyond shape, beyond doubt, beyond love. And I found the punchline to be, is only love. right? So when we're talking about do everything with love, let's do a show. I hadn't even put this on the set list. I just 1 minute ago, I was like, hey guys, I think I figured out the first song, and totally switched it up on everyone, which, you know, if
Right.
you get in a band with me, we do that sometimes, and it's always amazing. I'm an improvisational, musical, fun person. So I do play shops instead of workshops in vocal empowerment and that kind of thing. But I just really feel like this chant speaks to that space where we can find equanimity at any circumstance and find equanimous love through the challenges. And so it's called Beyond Love. It's the title track to my second kirtan or chant album. And I just had all of my older music has been released with BY Music, and kind of we're creating a vortex of sacred music in the LA and chant community in the Grammys. Actually, we just got a category. So this is called Beyond Love. So if you want to sing with me again, beyond birth, beyond color, beyond shape, beyond doubt, beyond love is only love. So if you want to think back to a time that you had recently, maybe where you had a disagreement or something just didn't go right, and you were feeling feelings that were less than loving, right? Find a prayer that can take you beyond that space as we sing. Beyond birth, beyond color, beyond shade, beyond doubt, beyond love, beyond love, beyond love is only love. Only love, love, everybody. Beyond birth, beyond color, beyond shape, beyond shade, beyond doubt, beyond love, beyond love, beyond love is only love, only love.
Yeah, I do class differently.
Scott, you've got a mute. You taught us all that. Hey, hey, hey. A J, a baby, a ruhaju, nasaka, sakachimaj, Allah baka, akadaya, Allah baka, anamaka, agaya janate, pramate, achoni, amoni, narage, narange, narube, love, 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 love. Ooh.
That's all Twinkle, that beautiful, beautiful song. Wow.
Hi, Dia. You can find those lyrics. I think they're on my website at johannasings.com. I saw in the chat someone was looking. Also, it's a chant. It's called Ajay Alay, and I'll put it in the chat. AJAI, and you can find those chants there.
And as Johanna said, her website is johannasings.com. And there is so much there. You can get her music. I always want to point out, and you can download it for free off her website, her incredible mantra sangha. It is one of my favorite all-time videos. It's incredibly beautifully produced. And all these things you can find on Johanna Sings. And Johanna will be singing much more tonight. She's going to be back with us a couple more times. So definitely, thank you so much.
Do everything with love. Da, 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 da. We'll see you soon, loves.
Thank you. Thank you, Scarlett, and for all that she shared, and for Kevin, and for Sherry. Thank you. Eden.
Let's all take a big deep breath together. Even with the little tech glitches, it's like such an amazing opportunity that we're given with the positive, right use of technology to connect hearts, to feel the global family just lighting up. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And Eden, I'm going to introduce you and our audience to a new friend who I've just gotten to know recently. Her name is Zasha, and I need to find her here. She was here a moment ago. So Zasha, make sure you've got your camera on. Now that is one of those moments. She literally was here a moment ago. As you were talking, I saw her, and there she is. So Zasha, turn on your camera. There you go. Hi. There she is. And I'm going to change. The name says Des because she's sharing a computer. Whoops. She's sharing a computer with our friend Baba Des, who you also are going to all meet tonight. But this amazing woman, Eden, her story is quite lengthy. I'm going to read part of it. She is here from Pakistan, and she grew up in a very deeply, and this is her words, so this is what I'm sharing based on who's sharing. And as I've gotten to know her, I've been traveling with her for the last week. She grew up in a very deeply oppressive and patriarchal culture in one of Pakistan's most conservative cities. Her parents were deeply damaged to the core by this same system, and they did their best to transmit what they had learned about the world, as all parents do. And Zasha just felt horror at what she witnessed around her, and the value system to which she saw her parents holding on to. And at age 3, she already realized, what's wrong? This is not the way life is supposed to be. Well, fast forward, she became an activist. She was very involved in the lawyers' movement in Pakistan. This was the first nonviolent, eco-friendly, love and inclusion-based movement in the country. And she became one of the great leaders of that entire experience for several years. Meanwhile, she was only in her 20s when she was doing that. She has spent the last 10 years studying everything she possibly can: psychotherapy, shamanic constellations, spiral emotional clearing, all in order to really learn how to serve the world. And one of the ways that she's serving the world is through the World Empowerment Trust. And that's what we're going to talk to her a little bit about. It's all about opening human consciousness to its source. And WET, which is the World Empowerment Trust, focuses on providing practitioners, guides, community leaders, visionaries to people that would not normally have access to things like the awakening world. And so one of the things that I committed to her yesterday is that we are going to give free subscriptions of the awakening world to all of the people that she is working with, both her practitioners and also the people that she's serving. So with no further ado, welcome, Zasha.
Thank you, Scott. It has been such an honor getting to know you and spending this time with you. Yes, it is so beautiful to know that people like you are doing this work too, and we are all finding each other through this beautiful platform. Thank you. Thank you.
So with the theme of doing everything with love, and Eden and I will both ask you questions, but tell us how this incredible life transformation that you've gone through has led you to WET, to the World Empowerment Trust.
Well, Scott, I had been searching and trying to feel into what needs to happen in the world for these shifts to occur, and the old ways, the activist ways, the ways we've been trying so far clearly didn't do it. And then I went to an training actually, and I found them to be resonating with the values that I had been longing for since I was a child. The nonviolence, the emotional responsibility, the love, the freedom, the decolonization of the body, all of those things. And I felt like if people in places like Pakistan, in the tribal areas, like if they could feel this love, if they could feel this freedom, if they could taste it in their bodies, how could they continue to live the way they do? How could they continue to support these oppressive systems once they get a taste of this? And so from that place, WET was really born, where I was like, I want to deliver this flavor to these places in the world where the currencies are so weak, the global economic order is shaped in such a way that there's no way these people would have this access. I mean, even as a lawyer in my country from one of the premium institutions, I was still not earning enough to be able to afford such a training. It's unfortunately the way the global system's structured. And so that's where we were like, how can we do this in a way to create more empowerment without dependency? So what came from it was this beautiful mentoring process where we receive beings from these oppressed environments who have been broken and wounded again and again, and we mentor them. And then by the end of that process, they have a project proposal for us where how would they transmit what they learned from these trainings to their people, to their local communities? How would they go on to empower them? And then they attend the trainings, go back home, and with our support, they do that. And we've had amazing, amazing beings come through from places like Iran, Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, the Caribbean, Latin American countries, Africa. We've had Palestinians who've crossed borders illegally to attend these trainings as well. So lots of amazing, juicy things have been happening because this door was made available to them. Yeah, and the hope really is that as these transmissions get seeded into these places more and more, as more and more people get a flavor, a taste of this, and they want this because that's what the soul longs for. Our souls, our beings, our hearts, they just want to experience true love. They just want to be free and to shine the way that they were meant to. And when they get a taste of that, they can't quite walk away. And so that's the passion, that's the belief, that's the faith and trust and love, that as they get that access, it will create that critical mass over time, where eventually people will rise and say no. That's what I'm doing.
So, so beautiful, Sasha. Thank you for what you're doing. And just for me, I would love to see the name of the organization. Scott, if you can write it in the chat for everybody, just for us to learn more about it. And I'm curious if both men and women are drawn equally to these programs, or if you're finding more women are in my experience in this kind of awakening movement in the States, I'm aware when we do gatherings, it's sometimes much higher percentage of women that are immediately drawn, and then they're bringing their partners, they're inviting the men in. Are you seeing it's both that are starting to gravitate towards this work, even in countries where the patriarchal system is so oppressive? Are men showing up? Are they coming as well?
It's a very interesting question, Eden. So, in terms of the mentoring team, we are all volunteering our time. It's a purely volunteer-run setup. So there we have mostly women. We only have 1 or 2 men, and women have been carrying this there. And in terms of the people who apply to us, it depends on the countries and the backgrounds. When we come into the oppressive Islamic regimes, we're seeing almost like, we're seeing that balance where there's almost more men in a way, because they're the only ones who can dare to take such a risk. Because you have to understand, in a country like Pakistan, it's a criminal offense. So it's a big risk. And then the cost, if someone is to be exposed, that a man would endure versus a woman is so different, so different. Like, men would be able to sustain that and just, it would not destroy their lives, but for women it would. So
Wow.
it changes the equation a bit.
So it's a criminal offense to participate in that kind of a workshop in these countries. So they're risking everything to bring this light into their communities, to have these techniques, even underground, secretly. It's amazing.
Yes, it is premarital sex. Anything sexual outside of marriage is a criminal offense. So yeah, it would do that. So we work with them to safely bring these transmissions into their countries and support them in creatively bringing this in so that the essence still comes, yet they are not risking their lives as much, because we want these souls to survive. I've often in my life experienced too many activists, great people, not surviving.
Right. So what I hear is you're bringing sacred sexuality into the darkest parts of the world to help awaken the population little by little. And it's very, very risky because of so much conditioning around that being sinful, or, just the religious indoctrination. So it's such a courageous act, and just want to salute you for your courage as a woman from those areas that is doing such revolutionary work. Amazing. Is there anything else you would share about some of the critical moments where, as you were growing up in such an oppressive world, you took a huge leap of faith, a huge leap of love, even though it could have risked your reputation, your livelihood, your life even? Is there any moment where you knew, I would rather die than not live my truth? I'm going to live fully.
Well, the first time that actually I had to make that choice was during the lawyers' movement, actually. There was a list that was distributed by our dictator with our names on it saying, I know who you are, and if you continue, you will not be able to leave the country, you will not be able to have your lives, and you will not be able to have a higher education. And I knew that I couldn't spend my life in Pakistan in that environment. My soul couldn't survive there. So I was tormented by it for many weeks. And in the end, I just realized that I really wouldn't be able to live with myself if I didn't do this. And it was so difficult, but I made that choice. And then from then on, it was easier almost, where it was like, I have things I will die for, and I have things I will risk everything for. And that makes living so much more worthwhile.
So powerful. Thank you for sharing your heart with us and the inspiration that you're bringing to so many others. Wow.
Thank you to Dorina Joy, who found your link, World Empowerment Trust, and that's where we can learn more about what you're doing. And this is Zasha. You've all been hearing me talk about how important it is that I really want the Global Peace Club to become much more global, to have people of different cultures, people of different races, people of different ages. And Zasha, you are an answer to a prayer, because I think you're going to be a very important part of helping us to really grow out larger, reach more people, and bring more influences in. So here is where you learn more.
Don't do that.
Remember to keep yourselves muted, people, whoever that might have been. If you go to this website, and I'll put the link into the chat box, it's the World Empowerment Trust. It's part of ISTA.life. So if you go to ISTA.life/projects/World Empowerment Trust, and that's where you can learn much more about what she's doing and how we can support this. And there's the wet fund here. So this is where you get the descriptions. And also, one of the things that I just learned when I was talking to Zasha is that they actually have different elements. You've got one fund for younger people to help support younger people.
Yes, so ISTA has another fund called LEA Fund that focuses on people who are of a younger age. There's also a US Veterans Fund so that people who are applying for ISTA trainings can get that funding. And WET focuses on the developing world, marginalized communities, indigenous peoples, trans peoples. So all people suffering from systems of oppressions that do not have the same access to global power structures is what we support.
There's some wonderful comments coming in. Eleanor writes how much she agrees about how important it is to expand out. Katie writes, Zasha, you are an inspiration. Dia writes, I bow to you, Zasha. You are truly a force of nature. And let me tell you, Dia, she is, being able to know her. And a last question for you, and then we're going to all come back and do some Q&A at the end of the show. But Dr. Laura asks, how did sacred sexuality enter into this? I thought this was about love and connection. Now, I think you answered that a little bit about, in a country where it's so repressed, it's like that's what's needed the most. But what else would you like to add about the power of sacred sexuality in the work that you are bringing people to?
When we really look at the ways in which love is conditioned, controlled, and contained, the first thing that is attacked is sexuality. That is the first step that any culture takes to repress and control love and its expression. And then from there on, it goes more and more around like rules of marriage, women's fidelity, and we can see a whole patriarchal setup come and take root right there as soon as a woman's sexuality is no longer her own. And so to free her and to free him from having to control her, this is a big step, it's a huge step, and a fundamental one. And arguably, how can you truly love someone if you are imprisoning them? Love does not control. Love does not contain. Love frees. Love would rather say, I would rather you be happy whether that is with me or not. That's true love. Whereas patriarchal love, which I don't consider love, I consider that egoic attachment and possession. That's a whole other side of things. And in order to untwist that, we have to go to the source. You can't exclude the source. You have to include the source. And of course, other love transmissions are very important too, and they are also very welcome. And WET is looking to now invite in other love-based trainings and things that we would also love to support people to attend over time as we grow.
Beautiful. Zasha, thank you so much. Eden, any last thoughts or?
Yeah, I'm just so aware as Zasha's sharing, being here at this deep kind of Christian mystic Magdalene retreat in Grass Valley, how such a figure as Mary Magdalene was denigrated for so many thousands of years as this whore archetype, when now even, the Catholic Church is elevating her back as the apostle of apostles, and there's many words in ancient texts that are pointing to her being more of the consort, the wife, the lover of Yeshua. And so much of the systems of control and oppression, like you said, are really suppressing the feminine, suppressing life, creativity, life force, Shakti, the feminine. And when you're speaking about how, especially in Pakistan and these other countries, women have been kind of, subjected to being objects that are owned and possessed and controlled and even, imprisoned in some ways. My heart just extends to all the little girls and the little boys who are entrained into a culture that's still really wrapped up in the fear of our birthright as free, creative, sensual, alive, loving beings that are, that's who we truly are at heart. That's our birthright. So may your work and the work of many others that you're connected to ripple in holy innocence, in that return to the innocent heart that includes every act of love and devotion and sacred sexuality.
Thank you so much. And for sexuality to become sacred is the equivalent of the woman returning back right there, because that is what they did. Such a beautiful example of Mary Magdalene here, such a beautiful resonance with that. Yeah, and I just want to make a tiny little addition here. I'm somebody who studied Islamic development quite deeply, to the prehistoric culture that existed right before. And the women right before Islam were in a practice of sacred sexuality. There was polyamory. They had freedom to marry, to divorce. It just meant something completely different. And then this was the very way patriarchy took root and put in. So it's so important for us to because it's a shame-based setup. And if we don't go to the roots of shame that is filled in the body, we can't quite truly rewrite everything.
Right. We won't ascend into this next octave of our divine human nature. So yes, I totally bow to this work. Blessed be. Beautiful.
I believe that we have Sherry Howard coming up next.
Okay, and am I introducing Sherry? This is
Yes.
okay, wonderful. Okay.
But while you're pulling that together, because I was just enraptured by Zasha also. Just a couple more comments that came in. Dr. Laura, Ayada writes, Zasha, I am deeply moved by your courage and your commitment to uplifting and liberating your people. What a bright light you are. Dr. Laura writes, beautiful, Zasha. Thank you so much. And yes, Mary Magdalene was a priestess in the mystery schools, not a woman of the street. Katie writes, it is much more egregious in many countries, but the patriarchal system is just as strong, bottom line, here in the United States and the Western world. Linda writes, duality is ever so apparent as in our culture's beliefs in sexuality. And Eleanor Joy writes, yes, shame is a big one for us to explore and release all around the world. So thank you for your comments, everybody. We're definitely going to take more comments and questions later on in the show. And I'm going to turn it back over to Eden.
All right. Well, I'm excited to introduce Sherry, who we've gotten to see and hear a little bit with Joanna. Hi, Sherry. Good to see you over in the Costa Rica Pura Vida world there. Looks hot and wonderful. And a little bit about Sherry. So Sherry is a multi-talented international kirtan artist, 1,000-hour certified Kripalu yoga teacher, a nature guide, sound healer, went to the Indiana University Jacobs School of Music as a trained vocalist. Thousands of guests at Miraval, Canyon Ranch, and Kripalu Center of Delight in Sherry's unique blend of yoga, healing, and music. She teaches a variety of mind-body practices, including yoga, mantra, sound healing, restorative yoga. There's all kinds of yoga that she can teach you. So this is wonderful to meet Sherry, who has cultivated her skills and now is bringing them online as well as a wellness entrepreneur. And she's leading mindfulness-based programs, and that's both online and in person, Sherry, or mostly online now, so people can find you.
Right now, mostly online, but we have a Costa Rica yoga retreat starting tomorrow, so that's in person.
If they find you quick, they can come in person. So maybe Scott can pop the links for you in the chat. And it looks like it's your website there. It says, as a nature enthusiast and professional outdoor guide, Sherry's guided and taught hiking, stand-up paddleboarding, and kayaking. And in addition to shining her own light, she loves to support others to shine their light into the world and do it with love. Yeah, Sherry, so great to meet you. And I'm excited to hear your voice again.
It's so beautiful to be with you all. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I invite you all to shine your light. And we're going to chant a beautiful mantra that is meant to bring you into a bliss state. And I feel like the bliss state also brings us into the love state. And this one I like to call the Maha Mantra Lullaby. So the words are Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So invitation to just relax and let go and meditate, invitation to chant with us. Really just let this be your own beautiful expression of Bhakti Yoga. So, all right, let's just take a moment together. And before we begin to sing, go ahead and close your eyes. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale, let it go with an audible sigh. Look into your heart now and find the part of you that is love and that is bliss. And let yourself begin to feel that. Allow that love and that bliss to radiate through your whole body, to shine both outward and inward. You are love, you are bliss. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Let's all just send our appreciation to Sherry and Kevin and Johanna. Beautiful, beautiful chat.
So blissful. Thank you.
It's really easy to find Sherry because her website is her name. It's spelled Sherry, Sherrie, Howard.com. And when you go to her website, definitely go and get that beautiful free gift, the Mantra Manifestation Meditation. And I'm going to do that right now. Thank you, Sherry, for the gift of your beautiful music and also for the gift that you provide to those of us when we go to your website. Thank you so much. And I'm not a robot. Oh my God.
You are not a robot. Thank you. I also just released a Lakshmi Ganesha chant in December too. It's Om Lakshmi Ganapataye Namaha, which is something really beautiful to check out as well. It's on the front page of my website. Thank you so much. Such a wonderful, so wonderful to be with you all.
And there's more, and there's more. And we're going to see the three of you at least one more time tonight. So thank you so much. Johanna, thank you for introducing us to Sherry and Kevin. Thank you.
Loving the harmonies too. So beautiful.
We're excited to drop into 7 days of that starting tomorrow. Janet from the Global Peace Tribe, right? Signed up. Is that her name? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Janet is one of our beloveds from the tribe that is getting off of a plane tomorrow, and we're going to have a grand time. So if you want to sign up, that'll be live in the next month or something for next year.
All right. Well, Eden, I get to introduce you and our Global Peace Tribe family to a very dear friend of mine. He's someone that I've known for many, many years, and I've admired him a great deal. And of course, I'm talking about Baba Dez. There he is. And oh my gosh, there's so many things to share about this gentleman. He's most well known as the founder of ISTA, the International School of Temple Arts, which now puts on hundreds of workshops all over the world. They've been out to 43 countries, and he started that. He's also the author of Sacred Sexual Healing, the Shamanic Method of Sex Magic. He presents himself, I love this, he's a speaker, a facilitator, a sexual shaman, an author, a songster, ISTA founder, lead faculty, but most of all, he always wants to remind us that he is an international fool. And I appreciate that so much about you, Des, because you are very good at not taking yourself seriously. I also want to acknowledge that I've been staying with Des for the last 2 weeks in Sedona. And we had this little road trip last night. And I've watched how he's had to manage some very difficult situations where most people would get very reactive and very hurt. And he just keeps coming back to love. And, you know, as we're tonight talking about doing everything with love, you know, we saw Scarlett doing music with love and doing animal protection with love. We saw Zasha doing politics and activism with love and changing the world with love. And Des, I would love for you to share, if you get settled in, how you do all the different things in your life, because you're also an entrepreneur. You've had a very successful health food industry business. You've been very involved in Bitcoin and of course, founding ISTA, which has become such a large organization. So share with us how you do everything with love.
Thanks, Scott. You know, everything is part of it. Everything is part of love. So business, finance, relationships, commerce, you know, if everything comes from love, then it's all part of love. And I feel like especially those places where people get challenged around money and sex and power, But if you actually surrender everything to love, then what happens is your money becomes a part of love, and your money is used for love, and your sexuality is part of love and it's used for love, and your power is part of love and it's used for love. And then so what happens is love is the end result. And I think that really comes from a place of fullness, really. And living in a state of abundance, whatever that is. I mean, for me, when I lived in Hawaii years ago, before I got into business and I went counterculture and I was living off the grid and in a very, very on the land without electricity, growing my own food, didn't really have a lot of money, but again, everything that was there was love. And I realized that actually, even though I had maybe $500 to my name, every part of that was love, and my life felt so full and so abundant. And so it's not about those things, and those are the resources of love, and that we can create tremendous global change if our finances are part of love, and we become conduits of abundance and finances that can actually affect change on the planet.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So practical. When someone comes after you in a hurtful way, I've observed that, you'll notice it, you'll feel it, and then you come back to love. How do you do that? Like, what are the steps that you could share with our audience for doing that?
Well, I feel like, part of it, well, I am human, and sometimes I'm better at it at sometimes than other times. But, part of that is just breathing, getting present, realizing that somebody's having feelings, holding space for those feelings. And I think the biggest challenge is just listening to people, especially when that energy or that attack is coming to you. And then to take care of yourself, to resource, to touch in and feel that place inside of you that is held, and that part of you where you can feel that you are in a loving, supported environment, and to do what you can to stay in that center. And it can get very challenging to stay in that center. So, it's an ongoing process, and I feel like we all keep learning how to do that more and more if we choose to. And that's really important, because what I've noticed is some people can, I notice that some people can get really hurt or really reactive, and it can be very challenging to be around them. Maybe it's a family member, or maybe it's a business associate, or somebody that you're, some other relationship. And when there's static, and when there's hurt, and when there's things coming into the relationship that don't feel good, what I notice for most people is they want to slash and burn. They want to cut the relationship, and they want to create distance. Now, it is healthy sometimes to take some distance, but that's different than going away. And so rather than cutting the people we love out of our lives and distancing ourselves from our family members and people who are challenging, it's like, hey, you know what? I need to take a break. And maybe we check in a few days later or a week later, and we go, hey, how are you doing today? You're really having some feelings there. You matter to me. I care. And so you may, even if it's like, hey, touching in once a week or once a month with people who matter with us in our lives, because change is happening all the time. And just because somebody's really angry or hurt or upset with you doesn't mean that they're going to be that way the next day or the next week or the next month. So I think one of the most important things is to stay connected and to hold that point of love, and to invite that point of love, and to keep inviting us to be together in love, to melt together in love. And rather than, accentuating the differences and being resentful and being judgmental, it's like, can we continue to come back to that point of love and keep inviting? Well, first of all, as an individual, I need to be in love. So if I can stay in love myself, then I can invite others into love. So I think that's the most important thing, holding that point for myself, and then in those challenging relationships to stay connected and to keep inviting the people we love into love and to share that place of love.
Beautiful. I'm going to bring Eden on to see. Eden, is there anything you'd like to ask or that comes up for you with Des?
So as you're speaking, I'm aware of this expression that a friend of mine said a couple years ago during the beginning of the pandemic. He's a yogi, beautiful yogi brother, and he said, "I just decided to live in love, as love, for love." And I feel that in you, Baba Des. I feel this radiant love commitment that no matter what's storming around you, it feels like you're staying in the eye, or doing your best to stay in the equanimity in the center. And I actually met you years ago at Esalen. I was telling Scott, I didn't know if you would even recognize me or remember me. I was at a dance workshop, and I think you were doing something else, but we ate with each other. And at that time, I was so like green in the world of like just community building and tribal workshops. And you were sharing a little bit about, I think it was so long ago, it was the beginnings when you were in Arizona with Ista, and you're sharing your book with me, and I was just so blown away, and I could feel the parts of my psyche that were like, wow, this is edgy. This is edgy for me at that moment in my journey. And now I can really, like, I feel the mission you've been on since then, and who you get to be and shine in the world.
Well, thanks for that. Thanks for that reminder, and it's interesting for me because I traveling around and being on this mission, and sometimes I stop and I go, it's such a intense flow of energy, and yet something moves me to move that much and connect with so many people and to plant and seed this movement around the world. And sometimes I stop and really go, what am I doing? So there are a lot of beings, and as you share about that time in Esalen, I now remember it. And it's so beautiful to see how we're all moving, we're all growing, we're all progressing in this direction. And it is edgy. As Sasha was sharing earlier, our sexuality is such an important part of our power. And if we have any kind of guilt or shame or fear around our sexuality, or so many people are so confused and around their sexuality, that what that does is it confuses our power, and it confuses our ability to be effective in the world. So, there are so many ways to express our sexuality. And the important part is that it's us, that we're free, whether we're celibate, whether we're monogamous, whether we have, we're open, we have many lovers. The main thing is that we're listening to our hearts, we're listening to our souls, we're listening to our bodies, and we're allowing love to flow through us. And can we just support each other on this planet to be authentically who we are, and to act and be and move in integrity with our communications, to not hide, to not lie, to not sneak or cheat or manipulate, but to just, here I am, and this is who I am, and find those conduits of empowerment for ourselves and each other, and spread the love.
Oh, yes. Thank you. I am so feeling the vibration lifting as you say it, as you speak it.
Thanks. What's really exciting is that this ISTA movement that first it started, like you mentioned, at the Sedona Temple, and then it kind of had its foundations in 2007, where training started, and there were 4 a year, and then 5 a year, and then 6 a year, and 12 a year, and then more amazing facilitators and faculty came into the organism, and then we started traveling and bringing it around the world. And what's really beautiful is that the people who attend this week-long event, they have gone out in the world afterwards, their lives changed, and they talk to their parents, to their children, to their brothers and sisters, to their friends, their business associates, and people notice, they go, what did you do? Like, what happened to you? You're a different person. You're so amazing. You're on fire. You're in love. You're in your passion. You're flowing. Your creativity. And then people tell them, it's like, I did this week-long thing called ISTA, and that's how it's growing. It's not through advertising or promotion. It's word of mouth. And if we're changing people's lives and we're supporting them to step deeply into their power and to receive the abundance that love has for them on every level of their beings. And it is a journey. And as people get more mastery, then they have more joy and they're in their flow of life. And then everybody wants that. And that's why ISTA's growing like crazy, and so many trainings are happening successfully, because we learn how to hold that point of love. And the whole organism is vibrating with love, and more people are feeling that. And so hopefully it's just this contagion that will basically shift the consciousness on the planet, which is what Scott and others and we're all really wanting to do. So it's a very, very exciting thing. And I think some of the challenges are when that success comes in and people start to really magnetize the success and the abundance. Then what happens is all the shadows around money, sex, and power come in. And then we really start to learn, how can I hold that point of love? How can I still lean in and not get into the fear that, oh my God, all this might disappear and it might go away. And then, can I still let go and hold that point of love and not feel like it's going to dissolve? And so, it's an ongoing path.
That's true abundance right there. That freedom, that fearlessness.
It is.
So beautiful to feel your joy and enthusiasm. And I love that word, because it's like you're filled with the joy of the divine. That in Theo is the divine light, right? Enthusiasm. And I feel how you started it with that frequency. That's why it's rippling.
Well, may we all continue to live in that frequency and continue to melt together in love and keep that momentum happening. And there's so many beautiful ways that we can express that love that moves through us. And that's the beautiful thing about all the individuals in the world, that when we tap into that source of love, it will express so uniquely through us in its own special way. Whether we're growing food or we're involved in commerce, or whether we're making music or we're building homes, whatever it is, that we do it with love. What we do it with love. And that's the bottom line, because it's a true expression of our hearts and souls. And when that love is flowing, there's no job that's more important than any other. It's just the work of love.
Well, in a moment, I'm going to ask, we're going to do a few announcements, and then I'm going to ask you and Zasha to come back on.
Okay.
And because there's a question that Grace Denise asked, which I want us to tackle. So I'm going to put the question out there now, because it's a big one. And then Eden and myself and Des and Zasha will chat a little bit about this. The question is, how can we build a world based on mutuality, reciprocity, cooperation, based on forgiveness, healing, understanding, wisdom, and freedom? A world where fulfillment is deep, inner, and joyful, and where fear and shame are things of the past. Now, clearly, that's very much what the work that you have been doing, Des, through ISTA. It's the wonderful work that Eden does in her work. And so it's a big question. And I honor that Zasha and Des and Eden and I are all doing our best with that. So we're going to tackle that question in a few minutes. So thank you, and we'll see you in a little bit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Come in closer.
Eden, I would love to actually flip it a little bit. We're going to do Global Peace Web announcements first, and then your announcements. But I really would love to right now just put the spotlight on you a little bit, if that's all right.
Okay.
Certainly when I have a co-host on a regular basis like Eden, or someone that I, like Johanna, that I bring back over and over. It's because I really have gotten to know these people, and the work that they're doing is profound. And there's several things that Eden is doing that I want to make sure that we really know about. So there's a few websites we're going to go to. And I guess probably we should start with your home website, which is her name, Eden Amadora. And Eden, what would you like for us to direct people to on this first page? We'll, of course, talk about the retreat. We'll talk about your Oracle office hours. But what on your kind of main page would you like for us to highlight?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, the fun part about my homepage is that I have this lovely quiz that you can take, and it's talking about how you love. What's your kind of core love archetype? And it's what's your beloved within you, the way that you love through your language, your body, your work, your way of showing up in love. And people who've taken this have said, oh my God, it's so accurate, because I'm working with these archetypes for many, many years. And mostly I came into the mystery school work with the divine feminine archetypes. And this one is kind of showing you not only where you're really powerful and your passionate proclivities in the way that you share your heart in the world, but where you might have some blind spots. And there's a follow-up from the quiz that's here to support and serve you to balance with the sides that aren't as strong and immediate in the way that you might show up. So that's the beauty of working with archetypes. And it's a really beautiful introduction into the mystery school work that I offer. I came from a yogic background as a very young being. My mom really was one of the pioneers in the 70s, bringing yoga and all these very spiritual books into the household when I was a child. And then later, deeply involved in meditation, TM and Kriya Yoga, and then shamanic studies. And it wasn't until about 13 years ago when I found the Divine Feminine Mystery School that I'm a big part of teacher in now, the 13 Moon Mystery School. And I have been featured on many shows like The Awakening World, and a dear beloved friend of mine who's a big supporter and patron said, why don't you do your own show too? You love connecting and talking to people and bringing light. And I decided to start a video podcast. It's going to be this spring. I've heard this spring is a great time to launch things for me astrologically. So Scott is putting it in. Did you get the link, Scott, for the podcast? I don't know. I think it was one of the first ones I shared with you. You can pop it in the chat as well. Let me see if it's way back up there.
I'm going way up, and I see Eden Amadora office hours.
Oh yeah, I'll talk about the office hours too.
Here's the podcast. Got it.
Yeah, Dia Therese, who is here and such a lovely being, has been on each of the Oracle office hours, and she wrote me such a sweet note at the very beginning of the show. The Oracle office hours is a free invitation. It's a beautiful, kind of little bit under an hour long deep dive into one of these archetypes, the divine feminine, that I have been working with and embodying. More than just learning about it like a concept, when you come into the mystery school, it's like, how does it live through us? How do we walk as that face of the goddess? How do we become her mouthpiece, her loving touch? So Dia Therese and others have been coming and getting the transmissions from these different archetypes, and they're really fun. And then I offer a divination reading, and it's a way that in between my mystery school year-long trainings, I'm bringing the work into the collective, because this is a time where we're awakening together and we're able to really get these arcane or occult teachings much more in the collective. And it's time the mystery schools open the doors, lift the curtains. It's a time of revelation. It's a time where the planet is in so much need of light. And each of these divine feminine archetypes, it all has, it's like a different color of the rainbow that's weaving us back to love. The core teaching and transmission of every face is, how do I love through that face of the goddess? Through the goddess of compassion, how do I forgive? How do I open my heart to forgive myself and then others? Through the face of the creator, destroyer, preserver, how do I actually destroy the patterns that no longer serve? And really, like, the goddess Kali is sometimes needed, that fierce side of love that, you know, when we have been suppressing our truth for so long, there's a fire inside of us that can kind of turn inward and hurt the body if we don't express and allow that sacred rage to burn through the illusions that bound us. So each of these different archetypes will bring us back to a kind of frequency of freedom, of union, of grace, of love. And my commitment through all of my offerings is to awaken my own heart and to share these transmissions from my heart with others so that they can recognize and remember what, you know, if it's resonating, what's their own inner gnosis, their own inner wisdom, and that we start to build this field of remembrance of our true nature, our divine nature together. And so this leads me, Scott, to the last kind of fun offering that I want to speak about, which is, I was invited by one of my initiates who lives in the south of France to come there this summer and to hold these mystery school temples with her in the land of Mary Magdalene, and to visit the sacred springs that Magdalene's known to have used and baptized people in, and continued her ministry of love and these deep, deep esoteric teachings that I'm starting, since I said yes to this, I'm starting to learn more and more about who she really was, and how this return to her actual teachings and the ministry is so in alignment with what I've already been doing intuitively and transmitting. I've had people that have come into my online courses say things like, this is divine feminine Christ consciousness. This is, and using these kind of expressions that I never used, I never thought of in that way. For me, it's unconditional love. It is the awakening of the heart. It is synonymous with raising our frequency, raising our love level, becoming free by transmuting the shame, the fear that we're imprinted with, as we've talked about, as Baba Des and Zahara have talked about tonight, that when we raise our frequency, we actually affect a change and a ripple in the field of the collective. So this retreat in France is going to be especially potent. And I wish I could bring everybody with me, but we're going to be a very intimate group of about 13. And this is for women this time. We're going to get really real and raw and probably naked at some point in those waters, or at least you're going to get in your bathing suit, and we're going to heal body shame. We're going to go deep into the body as a temple and into some of these very precise technologies and how to not only raise our vibration, but raise the inner light and awaken the third eye, and really the heart is the center of the whole teaching. So I'm excited to beam this beacon out to those who are resonating and those that know that this is for them and it's their time to really be a part of this leadership as love, to lead as love with us here.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for all the wonderful things you're doing. And a lot of the women that I know, including several that discovered you through Global Peace Tribe, just have said that your work has changed their lives. And that's why I really honor you and support you. And, you know, since you talked about the Mary Magdalene work, I'm going to bring Christy Michaels on for a minute. Because of course, Christy is a big teacher of Mary Magdalene. We've done shows together on Mary Magdalene. And since we kind of get on our calendars, put down the dates. So you've got the dates of when to go to France with Eden. And certainly want to remind everybody that every year, Christy puts together the Magdalene Moonrise Easter celebration. And of course, again, this year, it'll be on Sunday, April 9th. from 7 till 9 p.m. in the evening. So you'll be able to be with us on Sacred Sunday show in the morning and with Christy in the evening. And you can come to it live at Unity in Marin, or you can also live stream it. There'll be a live stream. Is there anything you'd like to add about this, Christy?
Well, this is going to be, we're going to have like 8 altars to the divine feminine on a day. Judith is going to have her beautiful archetypal Emma. She's a 13 moon oracle priestess as well. And Sue Ellen Parkinson and Shiloh Sophia, who have painted the Magdalene in the unsuppressed stories. So we've had these suppressed paintings of what Magdalene groveling on the ground, and then these women are painting the sovereign Magdalene, who is a fully empowered, magnificent leader, equal with her partner Yeshua. But Eden, I am just so excited about what you're doing with going, because I tell you, I went in 2008 to many of these sacred sites and to the waters and whatnot. And it was life-changing for me. When you walk the sacred land, it's like prayed up land. It's an energetic that is like nothing we have here in America. You know, we were devoid of the divine feminine for years in America because the Protestants didn't, only the Catholics brought up a very virginized Mother Mary that was untouchable, and you were a sinner, so you couldn't be like her. Rather than Magdalene, who is the Alpha and the Omega, she is so relatable because she has experienced the whole 9 yards. So anyway, I just love your work, and I love, look at the gorgeous beauty that surrounds her. I mean, this is truly the Magdalene in all of her glory. And thank you so much, Scott, for your open-mindedness to honor and bring forward, because this is a living archetype. There's nothing dead about her. Let me tell you, when people find her, and Scott's kind of witnessed this with me because he and I used to work together pre-Magdalene, and he's seen me come on fire. And we're going to have hundreds of people at the Magdalene Easter Rise service, and we create a field of love that is so powerful and so palatable. It's like a slice of heaven on earth in a moment in time that's just extraordinary. So anyway, I look forward to being with you and talking more with you about it and spreading the word. And I'm so glad you're doing this. So thank you, Scott.
Thank you so much, Christy.
There's a question that came into the chat box, and I'm going to go ahead and make an executive decision to ask you this question, because it is pertinent. Now, you could write a whole book about it. Maybe we'll do a whole show on it sometime. Can you give the short version of the answer to Ayada's question? She asks, I'm so curious about Mary Magdalene's life after the crucifixion event, wondering if anyone can recommend a particular book or video about that time. I've heard a little bit about her and Jesus being in France, but I have not found any books or information about it.
Oh, there's a brand new book that actually it's #1 on the New York bestsellers list. It's gone in 6 categories, including a very difficult, which is fiction. It's Kathleen McGowan's book called The Boleyn Heresies. And in her telling of the story of the mother, the woman who was the mother of the Renaissance. I mean, we've heard of the men who helped support the Renaissance, but we haven't heard about the mother of the Renaissance. This was the first mystery school of 9 women that were gathered to start a mystery school around Magdalene's teaching in the south of France. And it's a must read before you go to France, because Kathleen McGowan intimately talks about all the different places where Magdalene was. And it's so well documented too, because 30 years of extensive research that Kathleen has done, where she has been led in mystical ways and also in scholarship ways to these sacred sites in the south of France. And while she's there, she's living in the community. She's talking to And there's stories after stories that are passed down from, you know, generations of people. And she's got it all documented. They know she was there. She was teaching what is called the way of love.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure you're uncovering a lot of that too.
It's a new adventure for me, Christy, and I'm here with people that have come from all over the country and some even from as far as Spain in this weekend immersion with William Henry about the sacred oils, the oil of joy. As Baba Des was speaking, I was like, I was feeling the joy factor. And Magdalene is often depicted in religious art with her alabaster jar, and it's said that she anointed Yeshua with the oil of joy. And there's a lot of speculation. Was this oil from normal plants that we've heard of, the frankincense, the myrrh? There was a few other that were named they came through from ancient times from the Garden of Eden, or were there perhaps even technologies or blends that were altering consciousness from the oil?
Well, she was using, in the anointing, she was using primarily spikenard.
That's what it said.
And I did some research on it. Spikenard is a sedative. And he's about to get nailed to the cross. Do you think he might need a sedative?
Oh yeah.
but it's a sedative in terms of the higher consciousness frequencies. What it is it's the freeing, the release. See, we think we're a separated self. You see me as separate from you, but one way you can begin to learn that I'm not separate from you is to look at the life that I am. In other words, you know I'm alive. You don't see a dead body here. And that life that you're witnessing that encapsulates this form is the exact same life that you are. But we have this conditioning that tells us that, oh, I'm separate. But what happens with spikenard is it frees you from separation. It releases the heart. It raises the frequency so that you're expanding into your higher self. In God, there is no pain. There is no disease in God. There is only love. Love is all that's real. The Course in Miracles is very clear about this as well. And so it's why she used spikenard when she anointed him. So.
And to answer a little bit more about the, I'm going to check out Catherine McGowan's book. Thank you for that. Maybe Christy, after you can type the name again in the chat, because I definitely want to get that as well. What I've been told by people who have also traveled many times is in St. Baum, there's this beautiful cave that she's known to have lived in and communed with angels, angelic beings, light beings. Sometimes there's a bit of mystery around, were the Essenes already in communion with these angels even before Yeshua's birth? There's a long history of knowing exactly when the stars will align for this birth, this immaculate conception, and the angels announcing it, as we know from religious texts. So she supposedly was communing with these angels regularly in this cave in St. Baum. In
La Saint Baum
yes,
is the name of the it's a monastery that's up at the very top, and you have to go through Artemis Forest, the
beautiful
goddess Artemis, her forest, and you make this pilgrimage. And all the kings and queens for centuries would make this pilgrimage up to La Saint Baum. So when you enter the cave, the energy and the frequency is so high, and it's one of the few places that we actually see a stained glass window that shows the anointing of the crown chakra by Magdalene on Jeshua's body. And there's only one other painting that I've ever, no, we're so short on paintings. There's lots of on the ground groveling at the feet and doing the foot washing and the anointing of the feet, but the anointing of the crown chakra, she anointed head to foot, because the scent of the spikenard filled the room, and it totally encapsulated him, because she was the queen. It's the queen that anoints the king, right? And so, yes, there is a legend, although the scholarship has some issues about, because there's also Mary of Egypt. So,
Christy,
yeah.
you know what?
I
We're
know
going to
it's
do a whole
another
show on
workshop.
this. We're going to do a whole show on this.
Let's
Yes,
do it
exactly.
soon.
So
Yeah.
we will, Eden and Christy and I will come together and we will do a show on this topic soon.
But I have to tell you, Scott, the spikenard from Jerusalem just arrived yesterday. I have the spikenard essential oils, and we will be anointing the crown chakra of anyone who comes to the Magdalene Easter by the high priestesses.
So remember, everybody, April 9th in the evening at Unity of Marin is the place to be. I've put the link to the chat a couple times.
Yeah.
I want to thank Dorina because she did find the Boleyn Heresy, Part 1 by Kathleen McGowan. It is available on Amazon. So definitely check that out. It just was published in December of 2022. And Christy, thank you so much. We will do a show with you and Eden on this very soon.
Thank you.
We'll set that up.
How fun.
Much gratitude, much love. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Christy.
Beautiful.
Eden, we have one more presenter, and I'm actually going to go to her next. Then we'll do music, and I'll do Global Peace Tribe announcements at the end. But I am really honored that Terry Russo is going to be part of our show. And Terry, my dog is clearly excited about it as well. That's what happens when she sees another dog. Now, Terry is one of our favorite Global Peace Tribers. And she was at our first retreat in Sedona. And when Eden and I were having dinner and we decided to do this show, I said to Eden, you know, there's a woman who's a nurse who's part of Global Peace Tribe, and she would be a great person to be on this show representing, you know, the boots on the ground. Let's see if, and so I invited Terry. I said, it's going to be on March 11th, Terry. Terry goes, well, March 11th is my birthday. So thank you for breaking away from your birthday celebration. And I'm going to turn over to Eden to do a little bit more introduction, and then we're going to hear from Terry.
Yeah. So, Terry, what I know from Scott about you is that your commitment and devotion to serve, it's like great saints are like, how do we reach enlightenment? Love and serve. You flew from the East Coast, I think it was to California during the beginning of the pandemic when things were really, really intense. You worked 16, 18 hours a day in selfless service where it was needed. This is truly the boots on the ground heroine's journey you've been on. And we just wanted to celebrate you, to hear more about your experience and what that was like for you, how you kind of kept your own heart strong, your stamina strong when you were seeing so much suffering, and what you would share with us on just how you do it with love.
Wow, I'm in awe of everything that you're saying about me. It's like, who are you talking about? Wow, thank you. Well, you know, I've been a nurse a long time. I mean, I'm not a spring chicken. I'm in my 60s and been doing this since the 80s, and started out, you know, in the early days with the AIDS epidemic. That was really scary back then, before we had all the drug cocktails. And I remember people were really afraid. They didn't want to see these patients. They thought they were going to die if they just were in the room with them, which, you know, certainly wasn't the case. It was ridiculous, but we got through that, thankfully. And today, you know, I just want to share, I know you didn't ask me this, but I just thought of it as you were speaking. The thing that really got to me, and I was, you know, back in those days, I would put my little nurse bag on. I'd walk around to different people's houses in West Hollywood. That's where I was living at the time, because I've lived in both coasts, living in Cape Cod now. But and I remember going to people's houses, and they were all young guys that were dying, and it was really sad. We had nothing back then. We didn't know anything, and a lot of the families were throwing them away. And it was heartbreaking some days, but we really tried to help them. Sometimes we were the only family they had, and we would, take them to really cool things if they were able to get out of bed. Like back then, like Dr. Bernie Siegel, Marianne Williamson, Louise Hay, they were all speaking back then, and we would take them because they would teach them about how to, mobilize their white blood cells to fight it and all that. And I remember it was incredible times. And then later we got the drug cocktails, and now they're living forever, and it's totally different. But what I found fascinating was, because I've done a lot of different things in healthcare, but living on the East Coast, I would still do travel assignments in different places. And one of the times I was in West Hollywood before COVID, one of my patients that I didn't remember, but I guess I was back in the 80s, he remembered me. And I never forget, I'm working in the clinic that day. It was, in West Hollywood, I tend to work there a lot. It's a family practice, does a lot of infectious disease, HIV patients, hepatitis patients. And his name is Norman, that's all I'll tell you. And he sees me and he recognized me like decades later. He's like, Nurse Rosa. He's like screaming my name in the lobby. I'm like, who the heck is this? And he's like, I remember you. And he's giving me this huge hug. And he's like, I'm still alive. He's like, I remember you told me, if I believed in, I could heal myself and, energy healing. He's going on and on. He goes, I'm one of the people that made it. And I was like bawling like a baby. I can't even tell you what that felt like. Everybody's like looking at me and people like clapping. It was weird. But that was like just one of those moments. And you're like, wow, I made a difference in this guy's life. I mean, it was kind of amazing. And then, fast forward COVID, I was out there again when COVID hit, and I was working in that clinic, and I was kind of mobilized to work in different places at the hospitals, the clinics and whatnot. And we didn't know what the heck was going on. We didn't know if we'd get sick if we just touched something, like from the grocery store. So it was a little nuts. And I remember them saying to me, like, you're kind of older. If you can't work, we understand. I'm like, I'm fine. I could get hit by a bus tomorrow. Let's just get through this. And it was scary at first, but the bottom line is it's not just me. There's tons of people like me. I'm just one of many. We're all out there working. And I remember when they used to do the pots and pans thing, at 8:00 at night, I used to crack up laughing, but I would usually still be working anyway at that time of night, but I would still hear it from the windows. So, I'm just kind of going into some highlights, but I think the bottom line is out of all the things I've done, whether it was working in hospitals in different areas or home health, community health, research, teaching, whatever, you have to come from a place of compassion and love. You really do. If you don't love what you do and love the people you're dealing with, you can't take care of them no matter what it is. And even now I'm working more in mental health right now in addiction, doing a lot of outpatient work on Cape Cod. And COVID really has destroyed so many people. It's pushed them over the edge. So people that weren't having problems are now. And people that were having problems are really in bad shape. And every day we're dealing with people with very little resources, very lonely people that, dual diagnosis, so they're addicted to either alcohol or drugs, as well as mental illness. We have a lot of schizophrenics and people that were stable that aren't because they're not taking meds or they've lost their family. And, we're dealing with suicide on a regular basis. So there are some days it's so heartbreaking. It's hard to work, and we have to work together to hold each other up. But you have to come from compassion. And even on a bad day, when the moon is full and everybody seems like they're not in their right mind, you just have to get through it. And knowing that, hey, I could be in that person's shoes and I would want somebody to help me, So there's lots of people like us that do this. It's not just me. And, I don't know how to describe it, but it's just something that you're compelled to do and you have to do it.
Oh,
I don't know.
You're making me tear up, Terry. I really feel your heart, how massive it is, and how you keep showing up and making that choice, even when it's hard, when the people feel like the suffering is not changing, you still show up in compassion and hold space for them where they are. And that's everything. It reminds me of the myth of Kuan Yin, and she was put in a nunnery with the lepers, and it's a longer myth, but basically she was in bliss. She was in a state of love. And, her father thought, aha, she'll hate this and want to marry this old rich guy I want her to marry. And she was like, no, I am in love, as love for love. And I see you like this goddess of compassion. Thank you so much for the work you're doing in the world, and happiest of birthdays to you. We have a lot of love coming in on the chat for you right now. Really
She's my
sweet.
favorite goddess, by the way. I have a statue of her in my garden, and I usually meditate outside with her right in front of me. So thank you.
I felt that coming through.
Since we're honoring you and your birthday, I'm also going to bring up another Global Peace Tribe person that we all love, who also is having a birthday, or just had her birthday yesterday, Eleanor Joy.
Hey, Eleanor.
And Eleanor Joy celebrated her 81st yesterday, and she's, of course, who dances to Omar Shar's songs and is definitely our dance queen. So just really want to acknowledge our beautiful birthday gals, Terry and Joy. You're both really beautiful parts of the Global Peace Tribe. We see that Sylvia's lit a candle for you. There's Sylvia and Nitya's candles for you. And Mashar, can you do a little happy birthday tune? Can you?
Maybe. Where are we?
There we are.
I'm lost.
So, I thank you for holding the candles, one for Eleanor Joy, one for Terry. And we'll do a little happy birthday appreciation for you.
Happy birthday to both of you. Happy birthday to both of you. That's really high. Birthday, dear Terry and Eleanor.
Awesome. We're going to go to gallery review, everybody. Let's send some twinkles to Eleanor and Terry. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, Omashar, for jumping in. I didn't ask him to do that. So we're going to have a musical number, our last one from Johanna, Sherry, and Kevin. And then we're going to kind of bring everybody back up for kind of that question, our final question of the night. And then we'll close out with Global Peace Tribe announcements and an Omashar song. Johanna.
Hola.
Welcome back.
Yes.
Anything stand out for the three of you in tonight's show?
Love, love, love. We're going to sing more about it.
All right, great.
But really, I think it's been amazing to hear how all of these humans are alchemizing and co-creating with reality, the best possible reality through the love vibrations. It's a difficult time in the world. We all go through things, and it's what we do with that. And how we, if we're doing the dishes with God, we're having a wonderful time. Who says that in our tradition? I don't know, but it's actually a quote. I think it was from Ram Dass, one of my root teachers. It says, he says, do the dishes with God. And if you're singing with God while you're doing the dishes, it's transformed into an act of love and service. And then we're creating more love and service in the world through that action. It's a powerful vibration that we're all leaning into. And so I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to hold space for that. And I wrote another song with the chorus, Love, Love, Love. So you're going to hear it now. It's actually a co-write with my friend Mikey Pauker, who has been on this show before. I think I sang it once when it was first released like a year ago for Valentine's Day. So
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's called Help Us Love. And it's a beautiful song that I had the idea for because I learned that in the Hebrew Bible and the Christian Bible, there is a similar and exactly the same passage. Help us love our neighbors as ourselves with all of our hearts and all of our souls is how we translated it. So Mikey was studying to be a rabbi, and I asked him to co-write this song, and we did it, and here it is. So it's just a testament to how we are always connected, and how this love is a thread that can connect us all. And universal consciousness is real. If different scriptures are writing the exact same words in different languages, right? There's a principle there that's to be listened to. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Everybody. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Ahava is the word for love, and I'm gonna sing the Hebrew now.
So many comments coming in of people's appreciation. I'm going to read a couple. Dr. Laura says, gosh, I needed this show tonight. Said earlier, this was a week of so many challenges with so many challenging people. Thank you so much for reminding me about love. And that song that you just sang was so just weaving everything together so beautifully. You know, let's now, as we're planning, we're going to talk about the LA Global Peace Tribe Retreat, which maybe Johanna can come to. But definitely put in your calendar, and we're going to talk about that in a moment, but please put it in your calendar, everybody. Sign up, first of all, sign up for Bhakti Love subscription so that you can, be in touch with what Johanna is doing. And I know that I really intend to be there. Hopefully we'll have good internet so I can be doing my shows from there. But October 13th to the 15th, what a wonderful way for us to bring in autumn for the Bhakti Love reunion. And of course, Johanna will do a whole show like we did last year, a couple weeks in advance with some of your favorite people. And there he is, my bro, my favorite. Ganesha has always been archetype. And so Ganesha is removing all obstacles so that we all can come together to be with Johanna and Jai Uttal and Larissa Stowe and Jai Lakshmi and Donna Delori and so many others that are our favorite.
And Mikey Palker, who I wrote that last song with, huh? Maybe we'll sing it.
Absolutely. Opening the way for us to be there. So definitely put that date into your calendar, everybody.
The land is so sacred there. It's native land they're cultivating, and they have tribal meetings there and gatherings and hold space for the healing of the land and ceremony. And so it's just vibed up before we even show up. And the man who owns the land just loves the bhakti energy because he finds it to be similar. And there's spring water running through that we can drink, and Buddha's stream that we can meditate at, and hopefully we'll have an elder at the Sweat Lodge to hold space for us this year. There are ponds to bring your paddle board and do your SUP yoga if you want to skip one of the many hundreds of workshops and yoga classes and bhakti yoga and ecstatic dance experiences that we're going to have throughout the 4 days together.
Wow.
So Sherry will be teaching, I'll be teaching and singing, and I mean, who knows? This guy might come from Costa Rica, It's a very beautiful party. There's about 1,000 people. It's more intimate. I like it to be more of like a large retreat, but so come buy your tickets early because we want to keep it small, and they're at a really good price right now. They're going to go up next month again. So join us. Get your Airbnb early. We don't have much in the way of housing on site. So if you want to be close and have really good internet, it might be good to get a place that's not where we are, because the bandwidth gets taken by all of the people when they come to the festival for like live streaming, Scott. Anyway, much love to you, and thank you so much. I'm really grateful. That song felt like it was perfect to bring the love in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Johanna. I love you. Wonderful to meet you, Sherry. Wonderful to see you, Kevin. And enjoy Costa Rica and have a fantastic retreat, and give our best to Janet.
Jai, we will. All right. Much love.
Eden, I noticed that you brought in our animal love, your kitty cat. So I'm balancing it out. The Jasmine Bear.
Jasmine Bear.
Sleepy girl. I just woke her up. She was asleep on my lap all this time. She's like, hey, do I get a kiss? No, you're too sleepy for this.
Right on cue, the kitty came back.
It's so perfect too, because our animals do treat you. They are the great teachers of doing everything with
Unconditional love. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm going to bring Des and Sasha back on. And there you guys are. Yeah, that was a big question that got asked. And I'll repeat the question one more time. The question is, how can we build a world based on mutuality, reciprocity, cooperation based on forgiveness, healing, understanding, wisdom, and freedom. Where fulfillment is deep, inner, and joyful, and fear and shame are things of the past.
What a beautiful question. Just reading it is like a gift right there, just hearing it again. Thank you for, can you read the name of the being that asked the question?
Yes, you know what? Now I've got to scroll up and find it again. It was, oh wait, we've gotten a lot of comments tonight. It almost there. Oh gosh.
Meanwhile, I'm getting kitty purr therapy. This is also, I don't know if you can hear it through my microphone. I mean, love being.
You know, we've gotten so many chats. I
Hot
apologize.
chat box tonight. So whoever, oh, the purring's coming through. So whoever asked that question, I can feel your sincere prayer in it. I can feel how there's part of your whole consciousness that's absolutely aligned with this vision and this reality. And by you holding that vision, that's a big part of it, and sharing it with us is a big part of it. And I can feel how in the reading, when Scott was reading it, it brought me into a higher frequency of yes and thank you and joy and gratitude. And my understanding of how we shift the collective is what we are all doing within ourselves, and how our choice, just like Baba Dez was talking about, even when people are acting non-loving, to still bring compassion, still bring presence, still bring curiosity. So when you ask, how can we shift this world out of war and separation and shame and fear? It's by shifting ourselves out of that state as close to present moment as possible, each and every one of us. I mean, there's prophecies about the 144,000 rainbow light warriors, and maybe that's a huge act to activate the rainbow light body, like these, Tibetan masters. That being said, what if it's a small acts? What if it's a small choices every day to return every apparent act that's non-loving with compassion, with presence, with peace? And in that moment of choosing to respond or react, you are bringing that world. You are doing that great work. We're doing it together. So that's my answer for that.
By the way, Dorina Joy found the person who wrote the question was Grace Denise. Grace Denise is still with us and smiling. So thank you, Grace Denise. Sasha and Des, what comes up for you?
We were feeling into that. Is the mic on? Can you hear us?
Yeah, we hear you well.
We were feeling into that question. I'm going to start the ball rolling, and Sasha's going to finish it up. But I feel like several things were already touched on, and I feel like the greatest activation and reclamation is that of our emotional bodies, and there's a sensitivity that's required, and that sensitivity is integrated with awareness. And so, as we start to, I feel like part of what's happened is that there's been so much separation, and it's that separation within ourselves from all the pieces of ourselves, our hearts, our souls, our emotions, our bodies, our and our minds. So for me, it's about bringing that activation in and noticing and being sensitive enough to feel where separation occurs. And the answer is integration, that we keep integrating everything and we keep feeling everything. And as we walk the path of integration and we keep bringing everything integrated into that field of love, that's where the big change is going to happen. So that's kind of where I'm starting with that. And it's interesting because that's actually coming out with a book. I've been working on it for several years, and it's called The Way of Integration, and it'll be coming out in the next couple of months. So I'm very excited about this question and really going deep into the answer of how we bring it all back into integration and end the separation. What do you have to say?
think the biggest hurdle and roadblock in the way of integration is trauma. It's been something that I've had to overcome in my own life to be able to really stay in love. Because the triggers, when they come, they pull us away. We all know this, how hard it is to be connected to love when we are triggered. And what is trauma? Trauma is something that separates us from ourselves. When we're not connected to us, we can't connect to anyone else. If we can't love ourselves, we can't love anyone else. And we might create the illusion of it, the ruse of it. We might perform it, but it won't be real. And so for me, the work of trauma healing is sacred work. It's a work of coming back into union with self. It's a work of completing everything within in a way and integrating it. So all the needs, the unmet children within can be met with the inner parents within, instead of looking for someone outside to fulfill us, to find our own fulfillment, to really become whole in our own being, so that when we are stepping in with anyone else, it's coming from that overflow, from that place of love, and then it can be mutual. You see, if I have an unmet need in my body, right, it's a survival level need that my child self didn't have met. How can I be mutual? I will be selfish. I will want more. I will be a hungry ghost. And so this is really about understanding ourselves and not judging ourselves for how we're designed. And if we can step out of shame and judgment and step into understanding and stop trying to become this or that, but just accept how we are. And then from that place, we can start to really understand this is how we're designed, this is how we're built. The very center of us is love. And when we are separated from that through trauma, we don't have access to it. And then all around us, we have no access to it. And so when we start to repair that within, it can really, sorry, we got an interruption in between. But when we start to really repair that within and start to become whole, it starts to happen. And the biggest mirror is the world. The places in which we are unmet outside are the places in which we are not meeting ourselves inside. And it's hard for the ego to accept sometimes. You know, it's very difficult to accept that, no, I could be doing this to me. No, how could I be doing this to myself? But it always starts. Yeah. And then we can really find a way to love the unlovable within, then it starts.
Mark Denisovsky just wrote, that was a profound discourse by Zasha.
Beautiful.
Yeah, really beautifully stated. And by the way, earlier, and I'm glad I'm remembering to show this to you, for you, Des, a woman named Olga just got back from an ISTA training in Mexico and said it was absolutely fantastic. Really blew her socks off. So so many chats now, I can't find all the chats. But anyway, Olga wanted to let you know that. I think I'll conclude this little discourse on love by sharing what I've just come to believe, which is that how do we do everything with love? We do our very best to always be seeking to compassionately understand. Compassionately understand the trauma that separates me from love or separates someone else in my world from being the way I want them to be. Compassionately understanding the needs that are driving people, especially people that I don't necessarily agree with or that I have resistance to or fear of. I really believe that doing everything with love is compassionately understanding myself and each other as best as I possibly can. Because that's the act of love that's needed to help transcend all the difficult things that we all want to transcend. So I'll conclude with that. I have so much respect, Des and Zasha. It's wonderful to have you. Welcome to the awakening world. Welcome to this part of my life.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
It's a joy.
Such an honor.
Just to start, I definitely want to do a whole show with you, Zasha, and bring on some of your people from, from the different countries that you've been. Des, when your book is ready, we're going to do a whole show on your book. Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you both so much.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
And I feel like
beautiful that you hold.
I feel like Dorothy saying goodbye to all of the people at the end of The Wizard of Oz. And you, Eden, I think I'm going to miss you the most.
Well, as soon as you come back, we'll hang out in California.
Absolutely. Hey, we didn't get a chance to go to your page about your new podcast. And I put it in the chat box, but I didn't get a chance to actually go to it. So again, if you go to Eden Amadora podcast, that's where you can register to be the first to know all about her Lead with Love podcast. And so definitely make sure you put in your name and your email address and submit, because we all are going to want to be supporting your podcast.
Thank you so much, Scott.
Yeah.
You're such a mensch. That's a word for just like an amazing, generous spirit. Such a friend. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being just such a wonderful co-host, and your beautiful questions, and jumping right in when my technology was failing me, and just being the bright light that you are. And I can't wait to listen to your podcasts.
Oh, thank you. I can't wait to have you on it. And for you and all the listeners here, if there's anyone that you're like, oh, you should invite so-and-so, let me know. Send me a message. I would love some, if there's amazing people that are really leading in love. And once again, that's both in big ways, and those ways are really the boots on the ground ways. Like tonight, one of the most heart-cracking open moments for me was hearing Terry's story of what she's doing, and how many people they don't get their name out there. We want to elevate them. We want people to be inspired by these kind of things. So let me know if you have a person you would love to hear from and have me speak to in an inspiring and illuminating way. I'd love to get your feedback too.
When Zasha was talking about trauma, people put in Thomas Hubel.
Yeah.
And he's
Gabor Mate too.
Gabor Mate.
Yeah, and one thing I'm really excited about, I've been so immersed in the divine feminine world, and I've done so many summits and podcasts on other women's shows that are all women. I'm really looking forward to elevating conscious men, loving men that are making a real difference in the world, and that divine masculine, the sacred masculine brothers who are here really lifting the lamp with us. So I'm excited about that.
And let's all plan on going to France.
Well, it's for the ladies this time, Scott, but next time.
I know, but just putting that out there. So Eden, thank you so much.
You're so welcome. It's such a joy. My heart's just bursting from all the beauty tonight. Thank you, everybody.
Good night. All right. Well, we've got one last little piece, and then Omashar music.
We are one. We are one. We are one. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh 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 oh. We are one. One love. We are one love.
It is time for the Global Peace Tribe announcements. Originally, I was going to have them halfway through the show, and we had so many amazing presenters. I wanted to just keep getting to the presenters. But there's a really big announcement. which is we are going to have a Global Peace Tribe retreat in Los Angeles. It's connected to the LA Convergence, and I'm collaborating with Pato and Antoinette, Ben Bowler, Tangela, and Sri and Kira. And I really want to encourage people to make their way to Los Angeles. And we finally have the website that has like the details that you might be looking for. And I just really hope everybody will come. I know it's a big deal to work your way down to Los Angeles, but we've got a lot really planned. It's an amazing week. There's going to be a lot of psychic healing. We're going to be with these amazing shamans that are coming up from Ecuador with Sri and Kira. Lots of music. I've got to see if Johanna can make it down. Larissa Stowe and all of the LA musicians are going to be with us. And finally, we have the website that just takes you on everything. Here's where the agenda is, the Facebook group. And we've got a beautiful home that we've rented. And it's going to be an incredible place. It's a mansion, seven rooms, hot tubs, beautiful big backyard. It's in West LA. It's near the airport. It's near where all the activities are going to be going on. And we do have a few spots left to join us. Obviously, definitely spots left for the retreat itself, and also spots to come on in and be in the mansion. Mark Danisovsky is going to be there. He was the very first person to register, so I really want to thank you, Mark. I know I saw you here a little while ago. Omashar will be with us. I saw Charlotte and Jennifer are coming. Atira is coming. Oh, of course, Roger and Bonnie. They found the house. So I really want to acknowledge Roger and Bonnie. Jerry Anderson, our wild monk, is going to be there, the wild monk of the Mystic Monastery. Connie and Andrew are going to be there. And Connie and Andrew have a big event that they're putting together that's going to be on Monday night. Kind of wrapping it up, our last big event that evening, Monday night, April 3rd. So it's going to be a really, really special time. And I'm going to put the link in while Omashar plays music, where you can, and one link takes you to all the different links where you can find out about everything that's going on. So please come join us in Los Angeles. A lot of hugs, a lot of cuddles, a lot of great music, really profound teachings. Several of my love coaches are going to be there. We're going to do Love Coach Academy relationship teaching, and we're going to go deep with Sri and Kira coming all the way up from Ecuador. First time in 12 years they've been here. It's going to be quite powerful. And a psychic fair that Tangela has put together. All that and more, and you. So come to Los Angeles. All right, Omashar, brother, thank you for pulling things together in the sound checks while I was hurtling towards the...
Well, after you sent me that photo of your RV that was just like sunk in mud, it's like, how are you ever going to be here? And again, you know, there's no words to express what has been shared tonight. It's all going to be integrated and brought into myself. And I'm glad to know that we're all on this ever expanding, wonderful page of uplifting each other's consciousness and opening our hearts. And in that light, this is a song, my version of a song called One Life. And it was written by a gentleman called Richard Fameray. And he was a very famous poet. He still is, but he passed away of Lou Gehrig's disease in 2011. And I've loved this song for so much time, and I've never, ever, ever played it. And I put this together. I spent hours today putting this together to make it kind of hopefully work for tonight. And so we are going to go into that. I'll bring up a little fun backdrop here. And here we go. Long before there was one father in the sky, and words did not confuse, and everything was seen as all one life. sky, and words did not confuse, and everything was seen as all one line. All that grieves and dreams breathes life back into you, you into me into trees. It's all one line. Come together for a very short time, so why do we fuss and fight when we have here such a wonderful life? All that dreams and grieves and raises life back into you, you into me into dreams. One life back into you, you into me into trees. It's all one line. There was one father in the sky, and words did not confuse, and everything was seen as all one life. All that dreams and greens and breathes its life back into you, you into me into trees. It's all one life back into you, you into me into trees. It's all one life back into you, you into me into trees. It's all one life back into you, back into me, back into trees. It's all one life.
Thank you.
Oh, what a wonderful way to end a wonderful, wonderful show. Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful brother. Oh.
My pleasure.
Well, it's been quite a show. And tomorrow morning, we'll be back. Mashar and I will be back for a Sacred Sunday show. Again, remember, it's going to be really a good one, all about finding your community with Cynthia Tina. She's a delight. She's got a great PowerPoint, and she's going to show you communities all over the world where people are doing intentional living and different lifestyles. So join us tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock Pacific time. Remember, everybody, tonight the clocks change. They spring forward. So I'm glad I'm reminding you about.
Oh, you really?
Yeah. So, yeah.
Does that mean we lose an hour?
Spring forward, fall back. So you lose an hour. Except for, we just came from Arizona to California. It's the same. It gets confused.
Time.
Anyway. See you all tomorrow morning. I'll see you. I know that, Omashar. I'm going to go to gallery view one last time, everybody. Wave goodbye. There's Johanna. Thank you, Johanna. Great music tonight. Thank you for the inspiration. Love you all. See you tomorrow. Good night, everybody.